Yes, it's Friday, folks. It's the end of yet another week. And that means it's time for Moohead Radio, your favorite program on the internet when you're sitting on the toilet and you're having cramps from shitting. Everybody.
You're just looking at Jason Kipnis up at the plate.
I really wonder, in all seriousness, how many people walked away from the NBA draft lottery thinking to themselves, you know something, there is something more to that Kennedy assassination than we thought. I mean, let's start.
Zapruder film one more time.
I mean, first of all, you know, it's like, how do we get this whole new methodology off with a bang, you know? And you know what it reminded me of? And you can sing along with me, Roxanne, if you want. I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. Henry the Eighth, I am.
I was married to the widow
next door. Go ahead.
To the widow next door. She's been married how many times before?
Seven
times before.
And every one was an Henry.
Henry!
You wouldn't have a Willie or a Sam.
Yeah. All right. Second verse, same as
the first.
Right, okay. That's the NBA draft lottery. Second verse, same as the first. You know, it's like, okay, we're going to take the teams that basically tanked and punish them, and this gives us complete freedom to just let New York and Los Angeles dominate this process too. This just gives us.
I think a little better musical analogy would have been using the Who's "Meet the New Boss," same as the old boss.
Right?
Won't get fooled again.
Yeah, yeah. It's unbelievable. It's like, well, wow, you know, and they're saying this on television, and it was great. They're saying things like, well, that means that the Lakers are going to be in the top 3 and the Knicks are going to be in the top 3. And I'm sitting there and saying, yeah, you can all suck my dick. I mean, come on. Of course that's what it means. Then, of course, it turns out that the Cavaliers, you know, poor Nick and, you know, in his little guest shot, he, you know, now there's something not to like, isn't there? I'm sorry. But I mean, yeah, the look on Nick's face was like, what did I come all this way for? What did I do this for?
I dressed up for this.
And number 5. But you know what's amazing?
I was waiting for Silver to come out with the Gov jacket from Blazing Saddles.
There you go, Gov.
Wielding his, what the hell's wrong with this paddle ball? It's broken or something.
Yeah. No, where you can't put the pen in the pen holder. Just think of your secretary. Okay. All right. So here's what I thought. And I always go with my first instinct. It's fixed. Okay. But then I go with my second instinct, which is, how do I make this somewhat entertaining and have a unique take on the fact that it was fixed? And the answer is, you know, you had the Shawshank Redemption. All right. There are many redemptions in the world. This has to be the fastest NBA favor paid back in the history of the NBA. You realize, don't you, that Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson will pass each other once in the hall, and that'll be the last time they see one another.
Exactly. It won't even be in the hallway. It'll be at the guard gate.
But why is the guy who's leaving smiling and the guy who's entering not smiling? But I mean, stop and think about this. The New Orleans Pelicans
fish from the Simpsons intro.
Look at this the way it is, folks. The New Orleans Pelicans. Everyone knew they were going to lose Anthony Davis. Everyone knows that. I mean, the guy's been there forever and nothing's ever come of it. He just got to be thrilled to get the hell out of there. So Unibrows going to find a new home. Usually when LeBron James said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, then, the wheels start grinding in the NBA offices like, oh, God, we're going to have to give them the number 1 pick a couple times to make up for this loss, or else we're going to turf the franchise completely. And the Cavaliers get, Kyrie Irving. Woo! The Cavaliers get, But never this fast. They actually repaid the Pelicans before AD left. This has to be the fastest, swiftest. This is what I call the anti-wimpy theory. I'll gladly pay you yesterday for a hamburger today. I mean, since when was the NBA so generous? Well, so my favorite moment of that was, watching Zion Williamson go from Mr. Oh, I know where I'm going. It's New York or it's LA, baby. I know where I'm going to. You know what happened to him? This is what he saw coming toward him. That's what he saw.
Crawfish.
That's the last thing you see when the piranha strikes. Right? It's a horrible. They made a movie about that too. And there were like a cast of thousands. Yeah, the Piranha
Several movies.
Yeah, Piranha 2, The Return of the, So I haven't seen such a great camera moment since Brady Quinn melted down in the green room, It's like, poor Brady is like, we're going to keep the camera fixed on this guy until somebody drafts him. And flop, sweat, and the whole thing. Well, this guy went from Mr. Magnanimous to this. Abject fear to finally.
There you go, Rick.
It almost went. Macaulay Culkin just went.
Yeah, exactly. Home Alone.
And the guy next to him was just snickering.
Yeah. I mean, so here's what we get in the aftermath of the obvious unhappiness. Headline. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Stepdad. Zion's excited to play for the Pelicans. His stepfather? Zion Williamson's stepfather said the Duke star is cool with playing for the New Orleans Pelicans if, as expected, they take him with the first pick in June's NBA draft. Lee Anderson, Zion Williamson's stepfather, said, now, I really didn't know Zion growing up, and I really don't know a whole hell of a lot about him, but shit, this means a lot of money to me.
As long as the check clears, I'm good with it.
I'm good. God damn it. Send him to Sacramento. Meanwhile, it's like stepdad is saying, this is great. New Orleans. And Zion looks like he's being shipped out. He's being shipped out to like Alcatraz. I mean, I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. Did John Morant look at with that look on his face like, hey, pal, I'm going to fucking Memphis,
Now, that's not to say that players can't be wrong. For example, LeBron was happy to come to Cleveland, right? And Kyrie was happy to go to Boston.
Then
players can be wrong, folks. Yeah. Zion has not signed with an agent or worked out a shoe deal and could theoretically return for a second year at Duke. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great for the city of New Orleans? Good night, America. How are you? Oh my God! You know what people would be saying?
That they get
this is almost
the two guys.
This is almost as bad as Katrina. Damn. Yeah, New Orleans hasn't had a good thing happen to it in some time. Yeah, I don't think he's going to spurn the draft, but still, the look on his face, it was, you know what it was like? it was like a 6-year-old who thought that he was going to get a PlayStation 4 and instead got an Amazon Fire tablet. That's what it looked like. He was just like,
that or a Pong game.
Pong game. He was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Fuck you both.
I wanted a goddamn PlayStation 4.
No, little Timmy is holding out for the PlayStation 5. That's the supposedly 2020.
And I'll still be 8 years old.
So that's the beauty of Timmy. He's had every game system that's ever existed, and he's still 8 years old. It's a remarkable thing. It's like one of those time travel movies. But the new PlayStation 5, they say, is going to be like solid state hard drives, ultimate fast performance, no waiting on title screens, and the same lousy games.
And you get these guys now in record time. Just toddling around, just boom, boom, done.
So I had a really good time watching the NBA draft lottery, and I know Zion did too. And I wouldn't leave you without one final thought, and that's that it really doesn't matter, because there's no guarantee that Zion's going to be great or not injury prone, or there's no guarantees of anything. And if you're the people who would be celebrating the most would be people in Memphis, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to get Ja Morant. That's what they're going to get. I mean, it's like, okay. So who's their Ohio State Conley? He's old and gone.
Conley.
Yeah, he's old and gone. So let's bring in Ja Morant. But really, how does that make them a better team? It does not. The only teams that can be benefited today through the draft are if A, there is one amazing talent like a LeBron or a Michael Jordan or a Kevin Durant. That would make a difference in wins and losses for a team. Or the teams who already have a roster and a group of players, and getting another guy would really put them over the top. And there wouldn't necessarily be pressure on that guy coming out of college early to become the next great thing in a city. So the Lakers have the number, 4 pick?
Yeah.
And Rob Pelinka has indicated that he's going to pick his nose. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Now, the next thing is Portland and Golden State. And then you have the Bucks and the Raptors. So the Bucks and the Raptors are on tonight, right?
Yep.
Honestly, I've watched all of the games so far. And neither the Bucks nor the Raptors have a chance against Golden State. That's not even entertaining. That's like a coronation by default. And we know
That's what I said back in August.
Yeah, well, I know. You know what's remarkable about this? It's like you have the Trailblazers game yesterday, and how is it possible that a team succumbs to trapping pressure and falls apart like the Trailblazers did? All the Warriors did was picked up the speed of their defense and ran 2 men at the ball handler, and they got trapped at the midcourt line every time and threw the ball away. It was pathetic. And then they stopped making shots because the speed of the game fucked them up, and which I thought was the Trailblazers' strength, was that they were an up and down team, but wrong. They couldn't handle the whole thing. And they lost to a team again, 2 in a row. Without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's not going to be there for game 3 and 4, and who really gives a flying fuck, because the Portland Trailblazers are simply not good enough. And it was like what I said when the Portland Trailblazers, when I picked them to get through into the West Finals, it's like, don't get too excited, everybody in Portland. The fact that I think that you have a better team at this point than the Denver Nuggets doesn't mean shit because you're going in to play Goliath next and you have no chance. But of course, there's always Damian Lillard who says that there was a lot of contact by Iguodala on the final play. I mean, look, folks, you blew what, a 16-point lead? I don't want to hear this shit. You were 16 points ahead and they didn't have KD and you still lost the game. You were outscored by how many points? 14 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, and you're going to, you know, and Damian Lillard is going to sit there and say, well, that last play, there should not have been a last play. It should have been 1-1.
Hang on to the lead. It doesn't come to that last play. And why did all their shots in the fourth quarter all turn out to be 3-pointers? 2-pointers work as well, too.
Oh, they didn't
score.
They didn't share the ball. They bring the ball over the midcourt line, but Lillard was hoisting up 34-footers. It was horrible. And, you know.
I thought Paul George was still in front of him. I don't know.
Yeah, God. I mean, it was. And you know they're not going to call Iguodala for that. You know they're not.
Not at home, no.
No, it's not going to happen. And you know something?
No, and not this deep in the playoffs either.
They proved to me that they could turn it on when they had to. And what's interesting is in 2016, they could not turn it on without Kevin Durant in Game 7 against the Cavaliers, where they had every opportunity, trip after trip after trip up the floor, where they could have taken control of that game, and they faltered. And they looked a lot like Portland, by the way, back in 2016 when, you know, Steph Curry was just flailing up shots that didn't even come close. One that missed the rim and just put a dent in the backboard. You know, people just, you know, it was just literally like watching two heavyweights who had punched themselves out, you know, in the final round of a fight and just couldn't get the strength up to pull off that one great possession. And it turns out the one great possession was LeBron's block, which led to the shot by Kyrie. But I guess now the Trailblazers just couldn't find energy for whatever reason, and they're toast. Lillard, of course, did not score in the final 7 minutes and 42 seconds, you know? And there you have it. All the talk about who the big players are, who the big guys are, and who, you know, you can talk about Damian Lillard all you want. You can talk about, you know, you can talk about Kyle Lowry. You can talk about DeMar DeRozan before that. You know, it's very few and far between. And one thing I'll say about Kevin Durant, he really is a killer. And I know that everyone's talking up, you know, Steph Curry. And I really don't like Steph Curry. I think he's arrogant on the court. And he's just not my favorite guy in the world. But he's played well. He scored a lot of points. And he's getting to take shots that he wouldn't normally get to take when KD's on the floor. To me, Durant is unstoppable in the sense that his length is such. If you get up on him, he can drive around you. He can shoot a mid-range fade, and he can shoot a three. I mean, he's got the range of Steph Curry and the length of, God knows, a 7'1" player. You know, it's just like scary shit. But now, the Bucks and the Raptors, I mean, they're just fighting it out for like third and fourth place. I'm sitting there watching these two teams play, and all I can say is, well, I mean, it's interesting. The games are close and all, but these teams just aren't good enough. These two teams would not have been good enough to beat the LeBron Cavaliers. And I don't mean the championship LeBron. They wouldn't have gotten out of the East is what I'm saying. They're not that good.
They probably wouldn't have even beaten the Lakers.
No, I mean, I look at this, and it's not that I think that the Cavaliers were, you know, a great team, but when LeBron was out there and healthy, and they wouldn't have been able to overcome these teams. I mean, if the Cavaliers had LeBron and Kyrie, they're not going to win. You know, if the Cavaliers had Kevin Love healthy and LeBron, they wouldn't overcome. They'd find a way to choke. I don't think these teams are as good as previous East representatives who haven't exactly been great in recent years. Meanwhile, Giannis.
LeBron would have been pulling his best. He would have been pulling his best Gandalf the Grey. You shall not pass.
Well, Giannis is talking. The East is definitely open without LeBron. Well, don't you think it's kind of late to be talking about that? It's like, this is a fucking time warp. Of course, it's wide open because your team sucks, and so does the Raptors. It's wide open. If you two teams are the teams represented, and one of you beat the 76ers with can't shoot Simmons, I mean, yeah, I'd say it's wide open.
Just have Giannis and Kawhi go out there and play a game of horse, like the other four matter anyway.
Well, I mean, the thing about Giannis is, it's like, until Giannis can shoot a three, he ain't Kevin Durant. And shooting 30% for the season, and then he had that one little stretch of the playoffs where he was hitting them, but now he's come up lame again from three. He's just throwing up bricks. Teams are just collapsing, men all over him, and they're saying, okay, here are the people who have to beat us. Ilya Moron, okay? Guy's got water on the brain. Look at him. Look at Ilyasova. The guy looks like he has water on the brain, right? I mean, yeah, I'm sure that Bledsoe really standing all by himself in a corner, missing 3 after 3, you know? They had an actual freeze screen where 4 men collapsed on Giannis in the paint. He could have kicked it out to anyone he wanted, and they can't shoot. It's why they would not have beaten the Cavaliers, because the Cavaliers, I mean, if fucking Kyle Korver had that wide open a look, he'd bury everything. But these guys, I don't even know who in the hell they are. They can't shoot. They're not consistent. One game they'll be really good, and then like 2 games they'll be really bad, and you can't win 7-game series that way. Doesn't work that way. So I'm just, just confused about the whole thing. Why they're even playing this out, I have no idea. But then I don't understand why they're playing out 162 games in baseball season either. I mean, it's like the Cleveland media now is reduced to, well, we got an 11-game homestand here, and the Indians scored 14 runs in their last game. And you know something? Jason Kipnis attributes it to a meeting that they had. We're going to stop striking out. We're going to stop taking third call strikes or just swinging at balls in the dirt. What? I mean, who really cares if the Indians are slugging it out with the Twins? I mean, seriously.
They probably won't get 14 more runs against the Orioles over the next 3 games.
Yeah, but I mean, who really gives a flying fuck? I mean, whoever gets to the playoffs is dead meat in the first round, so it doesn't make any damn bit of difference, does it? And then this sad news: Tyreek Evans disqualified for the NBA for 2 years for violating the terms of the anti-drug program of the NBA. He joins a list of names of people who have been banned, including O.J. Mayo. Hold the Mayo. I just wanted to say that. It just seemed so appropriate. That would be like what, that would be what.
Right out of the Airplane movie.
Yeah, it's like Adam Silver, it's like, what are we going to do with him? Hold the Mayo. Chris Anderson, of course. Roy Tarpley. Richard Dumas. I'm sorry.
Well, he was.
Yeah, exactly. Michael Ray Richardson. Remember Michael Ray Richardson?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's the name that everyone forgets. Louis Lloyd, Dwayne Washington, and Stanley Roberts. Many of those were eventually reinstated. Stanley Roberts ended up eating his way out of the league, and Dwayne the Pearl Washington ended up having one last acid trip and winding up the rest of his life in Syracuse. Sad. And Roy Tarpley just went on drinking because he's just that kind of guy. So much for Tyreek Evans, who played for the Indiana Pacers this season, and that would cause a relapse in anybody. You're in Indiana. You're a black man in Indiana. What the fuck am I doing here? Hey, Beef, my name's Tyreek. Hey, Hey, I'm your brother Wally. What the fuck, man? What year is it? It's 1958. Oh, God. You know,
Why the hell is everything in black and white?
They flew when he went to the Pacers. Tyreek Evans is only 29. He went to the Indiana Pacers. They flew him in, and he hears this.
This is your pilot speaking. Welcome to Indianapolis Airport. The correct time is 4:52 p.m., 1957.
He started freebasing on the fucking plane. I mean, who wants to go to Indiana? For all the talk of Colin Cowturd, who wants to go to Indiana? There was a song, Indiana Wants Me. Lord, I can't go back. Right?
Yeah, back in the 70s, I think. Ardeen Taylor.
That's right, Ardeen Taylor. And you know something? There never was a song saying, I want Indiana. You know? Indiana wants me, but I sure as fuck don't want them. Yeah. It's amazing that Tyreek played 10 seasons in the NBA. He was the rookie of the year in 2010, and it all went to hell. He was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and that's how it all starts. Are you listening, Zion? But by the way, how do you like this for the holy trinity of NBA tours? Drafted by the Kings, then moved to the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. Can you say, I'm going to start using drugs so I just don't feel the effects of losing anymore? That's what you have here. And Zion is already in leg one of the Holy Trinity. It's amazing. Say farewell to Tyreek. He's gone for 2 years and nobody will remember him. And I will go into Colin Cowturd. Yeah, he decided to piss on OBJ in his show just because, well, it's just his way of screaming for attention like a little child holding his breath until his face turns blue, which I would recommend to parents to let the little bastard suffocate to death because it will lower your food bill. These are tough times we live in. You have to be sensible.
Kids.
You got to be practical. Yeah. So now Odell Beckham responded, which is the wrong thing to do when you don't wrestle, with a pig in the mud. Because what happens?
You just make them relevant.
No, you get as dirty as the pig. Okay, but it's the same basic concept. Yeah.
As if Coward needed more attention anyway.
Exactly. So, they're going back and forth on Twitter, and if I was great, then you and others wouldn't talk about me this much. I don't hear much talk about anybody else at all. But, what Odell has to realize is that he caught J.R. Smith disease a long time ago. And the fact that the germs are still in Cleveland, he's going to catch it worse. They say he catches everything. Well, here you go. I mean, these folks have to realize that some of the things that they do in their careers are going to stay with them forever. And it's really that they love to be the center of attention, I think. They just can't help themselves. And it becomes real easy fodder for somebody like Colin Cowturd to try to take advantage of it. But honestly, the top 10 moments of Odell Beckham Jr.'s career, I mean, yeah. So then Baker Mayfield came to his rescue. Once again, you're a clown. Now I know you're just trying to get me fired up. Most memorable moments, he's 26 and his greatest moments are ahead of him. You forget the kids and people he inspires. That goes much further than football. That was what Baker Mayfield says. Now, I'll tell you something about Baker Mayfield. Part of me believes that Baker Mayfield has a small penis, okay? No. He's too quick to react with the, oh, no, you've really made me mad this time. Yeah, there's something, you're just trying to get me fired up. I honestly think that if you were playing Baker Mayfield and you saw him on the street and you saw him a few days before the game and you were on the team that was opposing him and he said, "Hey, Bake, what's up?" He's going to say, "Man, you're getting me fired up, man." That doesn't take much to fire up Baker. Baker is waiting.
So a small penis syndrome, the same as little man syndrome?
Actually, it's worse.
Because
I thought it was only the women that got mad.
Yeah. Then he starts feeling dangerous. Then we get going here.
Actually, there are clothes that fit a small man, but forget it. You know, there is no product that Trojan came out with saying this is for the man with the small penis. You know, like
No one would buy that.
I mean, yeah, who's going to go into the CVS and say, "I'd like the small condom section, please"? Outline. It's like,
Aisle 7, could you bring up some small condoms for the man up front in the cash register with the small penis?
Instead of magnums, they'd be minums.
Yeah. You have anything in the thimble category? I think I might be able to sneak that and snuggle it up there.
oh my God. It's like, you know, well, you could put a ribbon around it and it might look bigger. You know, it's like, no, I don't think so. It's, but Baker Mayfield is just ready to get fired up, and it doesn't matter. So, you know, let Colin Cowturd keep talking, because every important game, you know, Baker Mayfield sits around and he's like a pig sniffing out truffles. He's waiting for that locker room fodder, you know, for that bulletin board material. He's looking for anyone who says, you know, Baker can't do it. Baker's just like Johnny Manziel. Baker is not going to, he's too short. Baker is, you know, got a small penis. Geez, Mr. Moohead, you really got me fired up. Okay. I'm glad that worked for you. You know what they say, big arm? No.
Big fingernails, whatever.
That's right, or whatever.
Whatever.
So at any rate, that's what's happening. When that's all that's happening in Browns news, you know that there's not much happening this
Somewhat of a
time.
slow news day.
Yeah, somewhat slow, yeah. Then there's the Indians and Jason Kipnis. Jason Kipnis closed his eyes and swung twice and hit 2 home runs. And, you know, we've heard this before from Kipnis, you know, that he's discovered something at the plate. Remember last year? You know, I was taking practice swings in the hotel room and I realized something I was doing wrong, and it lasted for 3 games. And then he went back hitting 187. Fuck Jason Kipnis. The guy sucks. The Indians are 4.5 games behind the Twins. The problem is it's the Doublemint Twins. I mean, really, folks, I mean, I would much rather, with our pitching staff, have 3 games where we scored 5 runs than 1 game where we scored 14, okay? And Bauer was terrible yesterday.
Oh,
he had no command whatsoever. Fortunate that the Indians won, but you can leave that up to the Baltimore bullpen. The guy, Inoa, Y-N-O-A, sounds like a Village People song.
Y-N-O-A.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll do it. Y-N-O-A. Boy, they had a sorry-looking bullpen. You know, they made Cargo look like he was Tony Gwynn. My goodness.
Yeah, they did a defensive play there. It looked just like an Indians play.
Oh, the famous
home and didn't get anybody out.
I can't tell you how many times through the years that I grew up that I watched the Indians, and this will tell you how old I am. If Bronk were here, he would remember this. And he will comment because he listens to the shows afterwards.
He's in the chat room.
His Bronk, you will what we're talking about. I'm going to go to the chat right now so I can. All right, Bronk. The play is a pop up. The infielder drifts back. The outfielder comes in, and there's a collision. Okay. You have to name the 2 players from the distant Indians past that we will forever remember as having the worst collision in the outfield. Let's see if Frank can come up with this. That's it, Frank! He got it! He got it! Larry Brown was the shortstop. Who did he collide with, Bronk? Oh, this is so awesome. But I have one old fan who remembers seeing this shit at the same time I did. Come on, Bronk. Who did he run into? There must be a delay between the chat room.
There is.
Well, we'll wait because it's so worth it, you know? Hi, Lux Interior. How you doing? Yeah, it's funny. I'm an old guy. I like to have an old guy. That's right, Daddy Wags. You got it right, yeah. Leon Daddy Wags. That's right. Larry Brown drifts out. Wags goes in. Larry Brown broke his fucking leg. It was really funny watching it happen to another team. It was outstanding. And I wanted to do that. You know, the Benny Hill theme. God, that was awful. I mean, why in the world would Mancini slide into the second baseman going back to catch that ball? That second baseman was so lucky that he didn't rip his ACL out. He is so fucking lucky. I can't begin to tell you. But I mean, if you're going to slide, don't you slide in the opposite direction that the guy, I mean, he's the one, the right fielder was the one who was coming forward. He saw everything in front of him. If you're going to slide to avoid somebody, you slide off to the side. Fuck, he slid right into his legs. You know what he did? He tackled like Greedy Williams. Oh, God. Jim Hammer is joining us now on the show. Hi, Jim.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, what does that mean?
Yeah, in case anyone hasn't said anything, tomorrow is the Mooniversary. How would you say that? Is tomorrow not?
Mooniversary.
It's Moo's birthday tomorrow.
It is.
What?
It is my birthday.
See, somebody remembered, so that's why I said it's New Year's Eve. So there you go. Or
Happy birthday to you.
Oh no!
Happy
Don't even know. No.
Happy birthday, Mr. Moohead. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Wait till it's yours, and I'll use your name.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to remain incognito here.
Yeah,
Cut it out.
I don't hear. I wouldn't want to call myself Loquisha either. Okay, so if that's the name God gave you, if that's the name God your parents gave you, so you know, Watermelononia, you know, whatever name they gave you.
How dare you?
Now, people are saying, "Hey, Mr. Moohead, how old are you?" Here we go. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to have fun in the chat room. How old is Mr. Moohead? All right, people in the chat room. All right, Amsterdam has put in his. Oh yeah, right, Loquisha. Yeah. Nobody's guessing.
That's how you typically.
39. We know this.
Jack Benny. Yeah. Nobody's guessing. Stephen Rose just said, sorry, I could not make the show. Lux Interior says 63. Bronk UK says 61. Brian Hallman says 62. Well, one of you is right. And the winner is the virtual coffee mug goes to Ron Shane said 67. 60. Okay. The winner is Brian Hallman.
He must have guessed my year by mistake.
I'll be 62 tomorrow. I'm your roving reporter, Bill Masterson. Yeah.
Can we have a A get off my lawn moment here, then.
Okay, absolutely. Here we go. I've been working on this, and it is my right to do these things now that I'm reaching this advanced age. You know, I was telling somebody earlier, it's like that birthdays stop mattering once you get a knee replacement. It's like, you're fucking old, man. You're fucking old. That's what it comes down to. So what is it you wanted, Jim? Oh, okay, good. Oh, it's just so pleasant outside. Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. Okay. Yeah, there's lots of things like that.
See, it's your birthday, and we're getting the gifts.
Yeah. But you know what I give, I don't get anything on my birthday. I give, and when I give you,
We don't want that.
well, exactly. And I don't want the fucking birthday, but I'm getting it anyway. So you're gonna continue getting fucking Mr. Jaws, man. That's what you're gonna keep getting because it seems to disturb everybody, and nobody knows what in the fuck it means, what in the fuck it is. And if I tried to explain it to you, I couldn't because it doesn't mean anything. All right.
Well, in your honor, tomorrow I shall play Black Cow by Steely Dan.
And get out of here.
Yeah. Drink your big black cow and get out of here.
Yeah. You're not going to fool me on Steely Dan music. That's the only real cow song. The only other cow song is, do you remember?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I'll sing it for you.
When you're a cow, nobody cares. When you're a cow, nobody cares for you.
I don't think that one made the top 40.
When you're a cow, nobody cares for you. Nobody gives a damn when you're a fucking cow.
Okay, enough.
It did make the top 40, Roxanne, but it was in the 40s. So
Now, there's a picture of a cow on the cover of Pink Floyd's Adam Hart Mother, but aside from that,
That's true. Good Pink Floyd reference. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what my favorite one though? Favorite name for an album? Captain Beefheart. Do you remember Captain Beefheart at his Magic Band? Yeah.
Played at my university when I was in college. He opened for Jethro Tull.
Hey Anna Guru. That guy, I couldn't get into Captain. Nobody could get into Captain Beefheart because his music made no sense. But the album, Trout Mask Replica.
Yep.
That was the all-time greatest. You know, that's the only guy who bought
fish
the
on his
record.
face right there. Yeah.
Big
With a
fish
hat on
convention. Yeah. It was really impressive for its time.
one of the best album titles to include a fish reference, including that, and you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
No, that was REO Speedwagon.
REO. Yep, REO.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what my other best favorite album cover name, you know, what the album name was. It was, it was Teddy Pendergast. I Can't Feel My Legs.
I can't feel my legs.
Look, folks, you're the ones tuning into this. It's not my fault. I take no responsibility.
You're getting what you paid for, so.
God, Lux Interior actually knew that it was Don Van Vliet who was the lead singer for Captain Beefheart. That's impressive.
Yep.
Good for you, Lux Interior. Yeah. You're Never Alone with the Schizophrenic. Now, Shake Your Booty by Zappa. That was great. Who is You're Never Alone with the Schizophrenic, Amsterdam? That's one I wouldn't be able to pull out of my ass. So, at any rate, he'll eventually answer when the 80-minute delay is through. Oh, Mott the Hoople. Thank you. All right, thank you. So, at any rate, that's what we know about the Cleveland Indians. One meeting, and by golly, we got 14 runs. But do not watch tonight. You'll only be disappointed. You got to be a pretty bad pitching staff to give up 14 runs to this team. It's really and you know what I don't understand? It's like the headlines. It's like Oscar Mercado. Can he turn things around for the Indians? Yes, he'll turn right around and go back to AAA. Guy's never done anything of the bigs. He's 24 years old, and no. He couldn't even get up earlier against people like Jordan Luplow and whoever the hell else is playing out there. It's scary shit. Scary shit. And then finally, this headline, folks. This is how far we're reaching. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant might be a package deal this offseason, which upset Baker Mayfield because it's a bigger package than, no, forget it. This is way too easy, folks. Way too easy. Yep. Irving is seriously thinking about the Brooklyn Nets, and so is Kevin Durant. I'll tell you honestly. If Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant both go to the Brooklyn Nets, I think it's safe to say that somebody named Dolan should sell the Knicks, At that point, they've written off the Knicks franchise completely. Man, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something if the Brooklyn Nets became the beast of the East? That's a scary thought. But it's not going to be, believe me, they're not going to end up together. I don't think anybody is going to want to end up with Kyrie Irving. He is such a moody little shit. I just don't see anybody would really want to have anything to do with him. But
I think between him and Durant, I don't think there's enough basketballs out on the court.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, Durant is at least efficient. Kyrie is just, I don't know what I would say about Kyrie. He's just
efficient.
Hard to play with. And of course, Tiger Woods went from his once Trump gave him the Medal of Freedom, he missed the cut at the PGA Championship. He's going home after 2 days.
So that medal means he was free to only have to play 2 rounds at Bethpage and then get the hell out of there.
That's exactly right. But I mean, the Medal of Freedom. Give me a break. The curse of Trump. Tiger had his great moment, and now this. Trump had to horn in to Tiger's greatest moment and fuck him in the ass. That's what Donald Trump's all about, Yeah, take your... And, once he misses the cut now, there ain't no phone calls from Donald Trump now, folks. There ain't no tweets from the Trump Meister about how Tiger missed the cut. He was terrible. He was terrible today. I can't even begin to tell you how terrible, so I will look it up for you because I can't even begin.
Maybe it was from laughing so hard at the scorecards Trump showed him.
Let's see. Tiger Woods. 5 over par for the tournament. Tie for 83rd. I don't think that makes the cut.
I think it was 3 over, probably.
He was 3 over for the day, 5 over for the tournament, and going home.
I think 3 over was the cut line, I think. I'm not sure.
I'll tell you, there are a lot of good players who missed the cut. Bryson DeChambeau, who's been a steady golfer, missed the cut. Ian Poulter missed the cut. Bubba Watson missed the cut. Sergio Garcia, who gives a shit about him? All these guys. Jim Furyk, who's old. John Rahm, who's been in, and Steve Stricker, who've been in contention.
John Daly rode off into the sunset.
Oh my God.
I don't know what kind of pants he was wearing today, but I think he had New York Yankees pants on yesterday.
Well, I mean, the fact that Daly had to get around in a cart. By the way, he was 11 over for the tournament. And he was smoking cigarettes and eating pizza while he was in the cart.
Oh, yeah, drinking his Diet Coke.
Ah, man, it's just crazy. And why Tiger even ripped into him, he sealed his own fate. I don't know if you know what Tiger said, but when he found out that Daly was going to, he goes,
he has osteoarthritis in his knees like I do. And Tiger just smiled when they asked him about that. He just smiled. He said, I walked on a broken leg.
Yeah, I walked with a broken leg.
I walked with a broken leg.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, so
I just figured it wasn't going to be that big a deal. All you have to do is put up with him for 2 rounds because you knew he wasn't going to make the cut anyway.
Well, you know who John Daly is? I just figured this out. He's Flounder.
Ah, yeah.
I mean, they have to. I mean, he's a legacy.
Mm.
No, I'm serious. He won. He won that tournament, so they have to invite him back for the rest of his big, fat, drunken life.
Yep. That and the British Open, I think he won too.
Yeah, I mean, John Daly being automatically invited is insane. He's taking up a spot for somebody who might actually have made the cut.
Yeah. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through golf, Mr. Daly.
Yeah. So at any rate, atop is Brooks Koepka. No surprise there at 12 under par. Wow. He's 7 strokes ahead of Jordan Spieth and Adam Scott. So that's what's happening at the PGA for all you golfing fans. I've got nothing else for anybody today. You know, I pretty well talked myself out, but you know, you found out the name of a few cool albums. You can go out and listen to Captain Beefheart on YouTube and say, oh God, why? It's incoherent and it's horrible. The only thing I would tell you that's worse is Metal Machine Music by Lou Reed. If you ever have the opportunity to listen to Metal Machine Music by Lou Reed, don't. It will give you a grinding headache because it's not music. It's like noise.
It's like feedback?
Yeah, it's just horrible. It's like it made Brian Eno's albums appear commercial. Yeah, I know. It's an oblique reference to an oblique strategy. It's another joke that nobody will understand, but look up Brian Eno and you'll understand what an oblique strategy is in music. He would compose songs literally by tossing notes into a hat and randomly drawing them. And he put out an album like that, and you'd have to be so totally stoned to get anything out of it. I had no idea. Everybody, thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We're back again on Monday, and you get to watch more NBA playoff action, and you get to watch the Indians try to score. And my prediction is 2 runs tonight. 2. And thanks to the people who stuck it out here. Jim Hammer, thank you. Rick, always. And Loquisha, thank you very much for joining us.
If that is in fact your real name.
I still like Watermelononia.
Cut it out.
I'm going to come up with new names for you, which I know that you'll, you know.
No thanks.
Aquanet.
Aquanetta.
Okay, Aquanetta. Yeah, that's the girl. Aquanet was the boy. You're right.
Went from Net to Aquanet. Okay.
Wasn't that Aquanetta James who sang "At Last"?
Yeah, or Netta.
Yeah,
Etta.
Aquanetta James. Oh,
Etta James.
Yeah, but I just put the AQUAN in frent of it. It's Aquanetta.
There's a folk singer thing called Odetta.
Odetta, that's true.
Yeah.
I always thought that Odetta owed people money. You know, it's like
Odetta.
Fucking blues singers like, I owe everybody money. My name is Odetta.
Someone shot my dog.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. We're back again Monday as always on the next installment of Moohead Radio. Have a good one, and until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads.
Think about it this
Good
way,
night.
too.
Happy birthday, Moo.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye-bye.
birthday.